Warning, we are a spoiler-based podcast. At times, we are also an offensive podcast, and we are most certainly a verbally explicit podcast. So if you fear for any of your delicate sensibilities, please back up now before you reach the point of no return. This is your final warning.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast that is like Siskel and Ebert with ADHD and on speed. This is Cinematic Anarchy. And with me today we have Mr. Omar.
Yes, sir.
And we have a guest on the podcast today, Nathan.
Hey.
Welcome. And somewhere out in the ether, probably still sleeping off the night before, is Miss B. We hope she'll jump into the podcast a little later on, crossing our fingers for that. And today we're going to go ahead and discuss 1993's Judgement Night, which is a fantastic, well, I liked it anyway. It's one of my favorite films. I love the soundtrack and the movie. And pretty much all the actors in it outside of... there is a couple there that I could have done without. I'm really not fond of Jeremy Piven, to be honest. But...
yeah. Jeremy Piven is an acquired mode.
I liked him in Entourage. This movie, not so much.
Well, the character, this is basically a quote-unquote little bitch trying to be tough.
Spineless. I mean, throughout the entirety of the first quarter of the movie before he died.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and read
nothing like a we do with money.
So I'm just going to go ahead and read the brief synopsis of the film, and then, as per usual, it's a free-for-all after that. We'll just go ahead and discuss the film. So our synopsis here, Judgment Night, 1993. Four pals are on the way to a boxing match, but get stuck in heavy traffic. To get to the boxing match in time, they take the first exit they find to find another way to the venue. As they are driving around lost in gangland, they get stuck and witness a brutal murder. The killer wants no witnesses and tries to kill them too. The four pals get away the first time, but the killer is soon back and on their trail, while they are trying to find help in the middle of nowhere. So that's your basic synopsis. I'm not sure that I like that synopsis, though. But
it's for the most part accurate, but it was in the middle of nowhere. It was just, I guess, downtrodden, off the beaten path part of the city. They were within the city. They were not in the middle of nowhere. They were just outside of their element.
It may have felt like the middle of nowhere for them. They don't. They're suburban dudes. It doesn't look like they felt very comfortable in the middle of. What is this? Gangland, Los Angeles?
Chicago.
Okay, well, this was actually filmed in Los Angeles, but I guess they were trying to make it Chicago. My apologies.
Yeah.
They film a lot of cities in Los Angeles.
Huh?
They film a lot of cities in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, they do a lot of stuff in Los Angeles.
Well, I mean, you work with what you have right next to you. I mean, if they had to go all the way out to Chicago to do that, it probably would have cost more. And
yeah, more.
I don't think this was a particularly high-budget film. I think they were just relying on backdrops and natural environment to keep the costs down. Budget was... Budget was $21 million. Domestic, it only grossed $12 million. Worldwide, another $12 million. So it came in just over their original budget. No, actually, my apologies. I'm gonna go ahead and retract what I just said. It said worldwide grossed $12 million. That includes the domestic. So apparently they didn't release it in theaters outside of the United States. No worldwide release.
Okay, guys. Chris, I know you know this movie.
Yep.
But as I just finished rewatching Judgment Day, I'm going to the little free with ads list that they have on Vudu.
Yep.
And they have the usual suspects free with ads. If you want to see, Nathan, a good crime movie with a lot of mental stuff to it that will really make you think, you want to watch The Usual Suspect.
Hey, Cassie, I'm going to ask you a question. Seeing as you recommended that movie to me, what makes you think that I haven't seen that before?
No, I just said you might have seen it. I said Nathan.
Oh, Nathan.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, I said you might have seen it before, but Nathan, if you want to watch a really good crime movie that will really make you think, because it basically somebody that outsmarts everybody. You want to see The Usual Suspects. It's very good. It's an old movie from the 90s, 95, but it's worth a watch because it will make you really, really think.
One of the few movies that include Stephen Baldwin in the cast that I actually liked.
True.
I am not a fan of that particular Baldwin at all.
You remember Sliver?
Sliver? Yes. Yes. That's, oh, God, which Baldwin was that? No, it wasn't Alec, it was,
It was him, too.
Was Stephen Baldwin in that movie? I thought it was the other Baldwin, the one that was in, Flatliners.
Let me check for you.
I didn't think that was Stephen Baldwin. I thought that was, like, William Baldwin or Billy or whatever his name is.
Billy Bob Baldwin?
Yeah, Billy Bob Baldwin. Yeah, with the one redneck Baldwin brother, yes.
Billy Bob Baldwin.
Well, I'm not gonna leave much dead air. I'm just gonna go right into discussing this while you're looking it up. I really think that like almost everybody delivered pretty strong performances in this movie. I really think that you're probably correct that Dennis Leary was kind of out of his element here, though he did go with it. He did a decent job. I don't think the one guy that was really out of his element in this movie, as much as I used to love listening to House of Pain, Everlast was definitely out of his element in this movie.
Yeah, he looked like a fish out of water in that. You could tell he hasn't done much crime in his spare time.
At this point, I don't think he had done much acting in his spare time.
No, I don't think he's done much acting either, but as a criminal, when you're acting as a criminal and you don't get too many lines, you have to really be... Yeah, how do you fuck that up?
I think he had the one good moment where he was trying to drag them out of the RV, but outside of that, like, everything else that he did in the movie just kind of... It fell flat for me.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of respect for him as a musician and a rap artist, but acting, I don't think that's his gig.
Nah. It had an element to it, the whole movie, because it basically puts some guys out of their element and they have to do what they can to survive. And I guess the weakest link was the one that got done in. That Jeremy Piven character. I don't even remember his name.
Ray.
Yeah, he was. Oh my God.
He bit it in the movie. I wasn't disappointed when he fell. As sad as that sounds,
yeah.
him being the first guy to go, or really the only one of the three.
Yeah, of the four.
Oh yeah, the four. That's right. Well, there was three afterwards. Sorry, I'm miscounting.
Yeah.
And then there's Peter Green, and I'm used to seeing him in a lot of like mafia type roles, but he's usually like Italian mafia, not like whatever this was. Like he does the criminal thing well, but he's usually like in mafioso type roles, like Italian mafia.
Yeah, not like an Irish crew. But I mean, he got the look for either way.
I liked Michael DeLorenzo as the kid that kind of bit it in the beginning of the movie. I think he did a really good job. And you feel free to just dive in anytime. I know I talk a lot, but tell us what you thought of the movie, Nathan.
And there's a lot of interesting elements. Really liked the particular line at the beginning after they all got into the RV, and I think the character's name was Ray, the guy who got the RV for them. He told them, "All aboard." One of them yelled at him, "Hey, that's a conductor, not a bus driver." He yells back, "Shut up!" And then one of them says, "Now that's a bus driver."
Yeah.
That was a good line.
That was a... Yep.
I think that they could have done a little better with Emilio's closing line just before he lets Dennis Leary fall to his death. Just basically the only line they could come up with. He's trying to drag him over the railing with him, and just, "You're on your own, pal," and kicks him out and into the stairwell.
I mean, if he saved him, he would have killed him right then and there. The moment he saved him.
Very true. But he was talking about taking him with him. And I don't think that line was particularly strong. It was like the ending to that whole ordeal. It was just a really weak line to end on.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him get back home. And I don't know why, for some reason, when I started seeing this movie, I was thinking that's how it ended. I'm not sure. He probably, in a DVD edition, might have had some alternative ending. But for some reason, when I saw it this time, because I've seen it a couple of times over the years, when I saw it this time, I thought the guy was they showed the guy getting back to his wife and kid.
You know, I used to have a VHS copy of this, and I want to say that might actually be spot on, but I watched the Blu-ray today. So I watched it on Vudu, and then realized I had the Blu-ray just sitting around, and I decided to watch
I was pretty sure I remember him getting back to his wife and kid. So that might have been an alternative ending that they had for the movie. Because I know I had rented it in the past. That's how old the movie is.
I wonder if maybe there was a director's cut put out of Judgment Night at one point. Maybe you got a hold of a director's cut version of that.
I don't know. I know I remember renting that back in the day. Way back when. Back when the blockbusters of the world were in existence. So blockbuster, Nathan, are these dinosaurs?
He might be.
I know it.
Of dinosaurs.
He might be old enough to remember.
I know Blockbuster. We had one in my town.
There's still one left somewhere, right?
Alaska.
I think so. Yeah.
I believe it's in like Juneau, Alaska, or something like that. It's way the hell out there. But I mean, you got a video store that's thriving in an area that doesn't normally have access to mainstream cinema, so they probably they require video rental places.
There is probably a necessity for it there.
Hell, you live in that kind of climate, wouldn't you rather go inside to rent your movies than rent from a red box outside? Getting your fingers stuck to the box.
I've been out there, but only to Anchorage. And I couldn't fathom how people live in the country in an area like that. And I've been to the city, like Anchorage is like city with downtown and the skyline. And I kept thinking, like, I know there's country to this. How do people live there if this is how you got to deal with things here? Because it was crazy cold.
Mm.
And the ratio of bar to churches was like 7-1. Like every corner there was a watering hole. Like every other corner there was a watering hole.
Yeah, church means something different to a lot of people. So, that could have been their church.
Well, yeah. My idea of church is going to a record store.
Yes, you see what I mean then. Some people, they belly up to the bar, and the bartender's their priest. They, few drinks in, they're letting out everything.
Yeah, some do.
I mean, it's basically this. Well, it's basically the same thing as a church. You show up, confess your sins, and take the holy water.
Yeah.
Well, slightly unholy water, but whatever.
Somewhat.
Less than holy water.
It's like, hey,
You know you're old. You know you're old when your favorite kind of bar has food. I haven't been to a bar that doesn't serve food in years.
Then after you're done your confessional and drinking the holy water, 90% of the time your penance is 5 Hail Marys and a gallon of puke in the toilet.
Yeah. I haven't been to a bar that doesn't serve food in a long, long time. Like, I gotta have my food when I'm drinking.
You know, I think that's one of the things about Georgia when I was living down there for the 12 years that I was down there. There were a lot of places that were just solely a bar. Outside of the bar snacks that you got, there was no food, no nothing. You're just there for the liquor. That's it. Of course, I lived, 15 minutes outside of a college town where really they're not thinking about the food, they just want the drink.
No, they'll get plastered and go back to their ramen at the dorm.
You know, they talk about, you ever been around one of those places? They talk about $1 well drinks.
Yep.
I'm not sure that I like the idea. It just paints a picture of them just kind of ladling beer out of a well. I don't know that I like that idea. I'll stick with the stuff I know. Because their well drinks down in Georgia was always some random off-brand beer that just didn't sound appetizing. All right, we got way off track when we're talking about Judgment Night.
We got way off track, that just like those guys in the movie.
Yes.
We're looking for a shortcut.
Looking for a shortcut and ended up in a jam.
Way off track.
Way off track. I'm literally sitting here watching Ray just about to bite it in the background, trying to negotiate with the people that were shooting at them.
That's the problem with guys that pun them themselves as the man, so to say. Because when somebody knows everything and is so great at everything according to them and only them, there's always the chance that that's the person you don't want to trust to be your leader.
Well, Ray was actually spineless. His entire character arc was him doing things that were just sheerly out of fear. His whole scene right here, just before he bites it, he decides to negotiate with these guys for fear of actually dying trying to cross over the alleyway. It looks like he has like a real fear of heights, to the point that he couldn't even jump down from one area to the next with the guys. He had to have help with the drain pipe.
Yeah.
And
Ray's the Donald Trump of France.
So rather than try to cross the way, he decided to use his smart-ass mouth to try to talk his way out of the whole thing, and ended up going for a flying lesson shortly thereafter. And I like the point that they made right at the end. He hands over their ring, and as his buddies are crossing out into the street to try to get away, and they're getting after him, Everlast just kind of tosses the ring that he claims around 15 or 15K out into the street and into his blood. They didn't give a shit. They could care less about the money. They're coming after them. No witnesses.
Well, it's a hunting trip after that. Yeah, basically, at that moment, when that type of situation, that's what it becomes, a hunting trip.
So
the thing with that is it's very real. There's always that friend that will think that he can talk his way out of everything. There's a lot of things in life you cannot talk your way out of.
Oh, God, don't I know that. I've got a few bills.
With Ray's character, he actually, in some ways, put them in danger. And at least one particular incident towards the beginning, I guess not the immediate beginning, but he had, after they ran over the guy, he had the opportunity to call the police and decided not to. And that put the rest of the guys in danger for the entire rest of the movie. They were unable to call the police until the end.
Yeah.
And the sad part of that particular situation is, again, that's his character, is that everything that he did was out of fear. So he did not call the police for fear of, well, he was drinking heavily while driving. You know, you saw that he was getting rid of empties in the back and everything. Everybody had been drinking before he was driving the RV, and he was just afraid of the cops coming up and catching him. Hey, look, I'm going to end up in jail because I was drinking and driving and I hit some guy with an RV.
Yeah, not getting in trouble was more important to him than saving a life. That's what scared people will prioritize. Like, save their own ass, even if what you're saving yourself from ain't really that big of a deal compared to what the other guy's going through.
It's just a self-centered twist on self-preservation.
Well, you gotta understand, self-centered people, certain people will let you die before they're dirty their shoes with your blood trying to save you.
Yeah, that seems about
You see the level of inconvenience here, right?
Well, he couldn't
Oh
be.
yeah, there was.
Go ahead.
There was this scene where they made a good point. At one point, they thought they'd lost that gang or whatever it was, the Irish mafia group, and went into this, I guess, apartment building or something, and they were asking for phones, and they were asking to use a phone, and no one was letting him do it, and Ray asked them, like, what's wrong with all these people? No one's willing to help us. And the answer he got back was, they're all like you, Ray.
It's true.
Right.
Exactly.
Their fear controls them. So rather than help the average person, just let the fear control you and to hell with you, you know? No, that's definitely spot on to Ray's character. Well, and I do like that the little mafioso gang here, the crew of 4 almost got taken out by a gang of little kids. Just a bunch of teenagers lingering around the park.
Understand, you got little crews of little kids in the projects like that. That will definitely will kill somebody to defend their little area. You'd be surprised the size of kids I've seen pull out. Huge firepower.
Well, I mean, they're just defending what they feel is their territory. You have somebody that's encroaching on their territory, also armed fairly well. And the natural instinct for them, I guess, is more fight than flight. You know, we're going to protect our area, and I mean, I can understand the instinct. The same thing, I mean, if you think about it, if, say, somebody came up into your home, said, this is my home, you walked into it, I didn't give you permission to be here, you just opened the door and came in. Are you going to protect your home, or are you going to just say, yeah, no, do whatever you need to? Go ahead.
Yes. I got to take this call real quick, guys.
Oh, okay. Well, Mr. Omar's going to duck out for a second, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Omar, I think we've given a good... Oh, well, he's already gone. Shit. So, hello, Nathan. Well, this is actually... I don't know if you've seen an older film called Deliverance.
I have not.
But this was actually very, very loosely based on that older film, Deliverance. It's actually, they're almost spot on the same kind of movie. And again, I do apologize for all the noise in the background. I've been catching a lot of stuff because it's hot. We have to put the air conditioner in. And that window usually seals the outside noises out, but with the air conditioner in, not easy to seal anything out. But this film, like I was saying, it's very loosely based, or considered to be a loose remake of Deliverance from 1972. Both films, they featured 4 men whose lives end up in mortal danger when when they enter a dangerous area on a trip. They're both stalked by violent people in the films, and exactly 1 character dies and 2 characters are wounded, and the main antagonists in both films fall to their deaths. So almost the exact same kind of premise. It's like they took the loose structure of Deliverance and just sort of put it in an urban setting.
It kind of worked.
No, I mean, it was a great film. I've always loved Cuba Gooding Jr.'s work. I'm not really fond of Emilio Estevez's work outside of the early to mid-'80s. But this film, I think... Well, I enjoyed him more in this than The Mighty Ducks, to be honest. Not a Disney movie fan. Pardon?
Yeah, the main guy, Frank, like my first impression of him, after his first few lines, it sort of seemed like a discount Marty McFly to me.
Right, yeah. I mean, he spent most of the movie on the run, and it really actually feels a lot like that initial encounter from Back to the Future, where he ends up running from his bully the entire time until one qualifying incident at the end where he just fights back. He's tired of running.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also just his vocal mannerisms just seemed really similar to me.
Honestly, that's just... I think that's just Emilio in general. Have you watched a lot of Emilio Estevez films?
No.
I'll recommend a couple of good ones. I mean, obviously, The Breakfast Club being one of his bigger films.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he was...
I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, he's the jock from The Breakfast Club. And he was actually pretty good in... what was it? Young Guns was a good film of his. I've
not seen that.
The first one. Don't watch the second one. Second one sucked. But the first one was definitely good. He plays Billy the Kid in Young Guns. And it's just, he has the same kind of vocal styling that Michael J. Fox does. Kind of like you could look at Christian Slater and I was going to say Nicolas Cage. Jack Nicholson. And their vocal stylings are very much the same. They both sound very alike. I think Emilio always kind of came off as this kind of squeaky, timid guy outside of, his, I guess that performance in see, this is what I do sometimes. I ramble for a little bit, lose my train of thought, and just fuck it all. And I won't edit this out either. I really won't. Because it's fun to listen to myself fuck up every once in a while. But I think, like, outside of watching him in The Breakfast Club, where he was the jock character, he still has that kind of meek, squeaky kind of voice. Sounds like he's going to stand up for himself, but he's also got an issue with actually standing up for himself to his father in that movie. So he takes it out by pulling pranks and bullying other kids. That's how we ended up there. And we have come back. We're discussing the life work of Mr. Meek in this film, Mr. Emilio Estevez.
He's done a lot.
I was just recommending a few films like Young Guns, and he's been in a lot that's pretty decent. Just his character, his vocal mannerisms always seem to be about the same. His voice doesn't seem to carry the character that he's playing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same guy in each movie, kind of like Tom Cruise.
There's a lot of people that are kind of one-trick ponies out there, where they are in a lot of films, but their characters almost always seem to be exactly the same.
Yeah. However, he's been busy forever. It's hard to think a kind of movie he hasn't been in.
Well, I mean, he was real big in the 80s and 90s. Lately, I think outside of 2000, his work has slowed down. He was putting out like 2 or 3 movies a year way back in the 80s and 90s, and then just once 2000 hit, it just slowed down completely. I'm not sure if that's him tiring from the work or just not being able to find the work anymore. But he's been kind of bit characters since then. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. Television shows, like a lot of our wonderful old 80s actors.
Any voice work? Well, Rob Lowe seems to be busy at something these days. Remember Rob Lowe?
Rob Lowe, Rob Lowe. He trashed himself in the what was it? The early 90s. He trashed himself with that porno video that he put out.
Yep.
He destroyed his career.
But now he's doing 911, I think.
Yep, he's doing Rescue 911 or something like 911 Lone Star or something like that. Not Rescue 911. That was the other thing. The reality-based thing.
No, this one is like a series. It's a good show, though.
No, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
It's a very good show. It goes in depth, but he's on something else. I don't remember what it was.
He was a main part of Parks and Rec.
Yeah. He also did a movie not long ago. It was kind of like a holiday type film.
Oh, I'm sure he has. I don't watch a lot of his movies anymore.
It was like a romantic joint that I was,
That's why.
I was made to watch, and it wasn't bad. And he was always a decent actor, and I had forgotten how good of an actor he was, and I saw him on that thing. It was some kind of a romantic movie, but it was pretty cool. I liked the character he played. It was like a doctor, a veterinary doctor who was also a tour guide, like in Africa. And he falls in love with this lady that just got divorced. One of those joints.
I mean, God love my second half, but I have seen so many romantic comedy films with her that I just... Honestly, whenever she brings it up now, I just bristle. I have watched far more romantic comedies than any guy should have to endure.
Yeah, I guess. Well, this one wasn't even a comedy. It was just straight up romantic.
Oh, just a romantic... Well, then that's called a romantic drama.
Yeah.
That's worse.
It was like a romantic holiday movie because it has some Christmas situation going on.
Oh, so Hallmark then?
Yeah, very much so. But it was a Netflix movie.
Okay. Because they have... Oh, no. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely not going to watch it now.
Yeah, trust me. Just don't worry about it. I took that one for the team.
There are a lot of Netflix romantic comedies right now. I've seen a few. I say this while my brain is just twitching, just saying don't talk about it, but they're all very formulaic. It's like they reached out and just fed some statistics into a computer and said, make a movie. And that's what we ended up with. Like what's really popular, what are people watching for romantic comedies or romantic films, and let's just make that. And a lot of their stuff kind of feels like that. Like they're trying to just bank off of what's popular right now. Always. Go ahead.
Like the movie version of pop music.
Oh, that's actually a pretty spot on analogy right there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I totally agree.
The movie version of pop music. Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Pop film. We could call it pop film.
I would go just a bit further and to say it is the movie version of British pop music. And the reason I say that is because if you listen to British pop music, a lot of it still sounds like it's stuck in the 80s. So they're banking on a genre that has been gone for decades. So it's like they're like, hey, well, let's feed all these 80s movies into a machine. We're going to make a bunch of movies, and this is fantastic, isn't it? No, people stopped watching this ages ago. Thank you.
Now that you mention it, when it comes to like pop music, those are usually like disposable music. Because if you remember 80s music, everything you remember is either some kind of subgenre. Say, for example, synth pop. You remember, for example, the Pet Shop Boys, Alphaville, synth pop.
Yes.
But it wasn't necessarily pop music. It was very deep music. It was just a lot of synthesizers. but you don't remember certain pop music, like, unless you listen to it and in the moment you're, oh, that was so and so.
The fantastic time of one-hit wonders and whatever happened to them. Yes.
Yeah.
If I were to go out into the other room, my daughter's right on the other side of this door right now. I can hear her making food. If I were to go out there and ask her if she's ever heard of the Pet Shop Boys, I'll guarantee you she'd be like, who the hell are you talking about? Do you know who the Pet Shop Boys are, Nathan?
Nope.
You might look them up now, but you'd have no reason to look them up.
And I still love their music, but it's gonna be that pop stuff, that poppy stuff that nobody will remember. However, you play certain other genres that had like more of a cult following back then. Everybody who used to like that will still remember those songs. Like, anybody who was into hip hop in the 80s will remember any hip hop songs.
You know, there's one group in particular that I don't even remember for their music. I remember the one song that they had that was popular, but I remember them for the hairstyle. A Flock of Seagulls. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where their hairstyle was literally made to look like they had a seagull on their head.
Yep.
They had the two things down the side that were supposed to look like wings, and this little curly Q in the middle. It's supposed to look like a head. It was horrible. I think this is usually about the point where we decide that we've gone way off topic to the point that we're going to take a nice little break for our sponsors, and then we'll come back and move on to the second half of the podcast, where we will we'll set up a pitch storm to sit here and see what kind of ludicrous bullshit we can come up with today. So we will be back in, approximately 30 seconds. All right, thank you once again for sitting through the sponsors for this particular podcast. I believe it's, I think it's Anchor right now, but no, not Anchor. My apologies. Wait, yes, maybe Anchor. Is that who our sole sponsor is right now?
We can always start again.
Yeah, we can. And the thing is now that I'm 30 seconds into the explanation here, I'm thinking to myself, do I really need to mention that Anchor is the sponsor right now? Because if at any point that changes, the ad on this particular podcast will change too. And we're talking about Anchor when we're sponsored by, Joe's Bar and Grill down the street or something. So
the Anchor's competition at some point.
something. Whatever. So we thank you for sitting through the sponsors, and we're going to go ahead and dive headlong into our pitch storm. Unfortunately, it looks like Miss B is not going to be joining us today. So get some good rest. I don't know where you are, Miss B. I'm not gonna call you out like we called Omar out on the last podcast, because we don't know what's going on.
We love you and we miss you, even though you called me out the other day. I won't hold it against you, baby.
I told him he had to listen.
I know you're hard.
So our pitch storm premise of the day, we have the leader of a creepy sex cult fights a criminal clown to save their city. And the notes on the card is, what if they've been ghosts the whole time? So, let's see how we're going to do that.
I don't know if I like the ghost one. The ghost part.
We can throw that out. I'll pick something else out at random. Let's see. Because you know what? We are not a structured podcast, so if I want to switch something, fuck it, I'll switch something.
Let's switch the ghost part. The killer clown and the cult. What was it? Criminal sex cult.
Okay.
Part.
Yes.
We can keep. Let's take off the killer clown part.
So we've eliminated the ghost things, and I've made things so much worse. So we have a leader of a creepy sex cult that fights a criminal clown to save the city, to save their city. And the premise now, the notes, is what if our antagonists and protagonists are lovers from rival gangs?
Yeah, that works better.
So we have the leader of a creepy sex cult and a criminal clown who are in secret lovers.
Well, here's the thing. Being that that's the clown is masked. So nobody knows it's this person. Until the end, of course, when they take the clown stuff off and let's see who this fool is. If it wasn't for you meddling kids, type of deal.
I'm feeling. I mean, see, when I'm thinking of like criminal clown, I understand we could go the Pennywise route, like heavy makeup and or a mask or something. I'm really feeling like almost a Joker-esque kind of clown. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's a clown. His whole persona is like being a clown. He laughs a lot while he's doing his business or whatever. But for the most part, he's not heavily made up. Just there's certain things that make him feel and look like a clown. I don't want to go the Joker route though. I don't want to make him like almost a Harlequin Joker.
No, we could let's make him heavily made up. You remember Bozo?
Bozo? Let's
make him that guy.
Oh, actually, you know what I feel? I don't know if you've seen this old movie that had Randy Quaid, Gina Davis, and Bill Murray dressed up as this sad sack clown. He looked like a hobo clown in it. I think it's called Quick Change. But I'm feeling that. Like, this is just this guy that just dressed up like a sad sack clown who's also a criminal. His day job is literally being a party clown for kids.
Well, let's make him a serial killer. Like John Wayne Gacy.
Okay, we'll make him a serial killer. So he's a serial killer by night, a criminal by night, a killer by night, and during the day...
He's just out and about killing people from the sex cults.
Okay. Well, I feel... Now, the sex cult thing, they're fighting a criminal clown to save their city. So basically, this serial killer's gone on a rampage in the city. I want to take the weird route with the leader of the creepy sex cult. And the creepy sex cult is actually a superhero team of people that are themed as sexual deviants. So we have one hut-headed guy that
have orgies.
Yeah, pretty much. We're taking the NC-17 route with this movie. We're gonna make this as ludicrously bad as possible. Oh god. So I'm like if Judd Apatow and the guys from South Park decided to make a superhero film. What is that? Matt Stone, Trey Parker. They already made a superhero-esque film about a porn star called Orgasmo.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a guy, an actor that I like for a gimp on the team. He's you know who Andy Dick is?
Yeah.
Andy Dick is just this royally annoying guy. He's got his whole personality is just really annoying. I kind of like him as a gimp on the team, on the superhero team.
I think he kind of made a career out of just being extremely annoying.
Well, I don't think Dick was his original last name, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just put that there because his whole persona is him being a dick.
Basically. Agreed.
Now we got to find somebody. I want somebody for the leader of the sex cult that you wouldn't think of as a sexual deviant. Somebody that is very wholesome. Somebody that you look at and you go, no, this guy would never, or this girl would never.
Oh, let's see.
Captain America or something.
Oh, Chris Evans. Chris Evans.
Captain America, yes.
So Chris Evans, okay, I could kind of see Chris Evans, even though, he's played a dick in several movies. Everybody's seen him play an asshole. He was a real dick in Scott Pilgrim. And what was that other film? He was actually kind of a cocky asshole in the Fantastic Four too, when he was playing Johnny Storm.
He was.
Is there anybody out there that hasn't soiled their goody two shoes image, that hasn't gone off of that's always been a goody two shoes?
Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks as a sexual deviant.
There you go.
That would be that's a good one. I like that. I'm trying to picture how Tom Hanks would handle a role like that, though. We'd have to come up with something really good.
He's done some very serious roles. Remember that.
Right. Oh, he's done. I mean, the only thing that he's ever done that would make me think that he could do this is way back in the, 70s? He did that show, Bosom Buddies, where he basically played...
You never seen Road to Perdition?
I've seen Road to Perdition. I'm not talking like being like a sexual deviant. Like, we're talking about the leader of a creepy sex cult. So the only thing that I've seen that makes me think that he could pull that off, he did the cross-dressing thing for several seasons on Bosom Buddies, where he basically cross-dressed with his buddy to gain access to an all-women's apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel like he could do it.
He did a couple of movies, like buddy movies in the 80s, that he wasn't goody two-shoes like that.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember the names, but he did a couple of things.
But, I mean, for the most part, he's got a squeaky clean image. I mean, like, he doesn't do a lot of things that... I mean, even his dramas, his characters seem to be above reproach, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is like asking him to just go fully the other way. Just go, like, full Seth Rogen or something for Tom Hanks. So...
that would be nice.
And I'm talking, when I say full Seth Rogen, I mean full Seth Rogen and, like, this is the end. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'd want out of him for this. I'd want him to just know it would be no holds bar. He is the leader of a creepy sex cult, and thus he needs to be the daddy. He needs to be the head of this creepy sex cult. And I don't know what his particular... The daddy, yes. You remember Dodgeball when Vince Vaughn comes out in the chaps and the outfit with the necklace that says "Daddy"? That's kind of what I'm picturing. That's kind of what I'm picturing for Tom Hanks here. Just in assless chaps and
on his neck. It's not a necklace. It's like a choker.
Right.
That's Daddy.
Yeah, assless chaps and nipple clamps. I don't know if Tom Hanks would want to do that at this age, but...
Well, they were a superhero costume. He should have a black leather cape, and he says "Daddy Man."
So, serial killer clown on the opposite side. We need a good guy for that too. I'm trying to. You know who I kind of like for that? How do you feel about Crispin Glover?
Who?
Crispin Glover. Oh, he's... Okay, if you've seen Charlie's Angels, he was the thin man in Charlie's Angels.
Oh, yeah.
Played a creepy movie.
He's George McFly, right?
Yes, George McFly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
He did a creepy film where he was like the king of the rats in Willard. He can do creepy.
He can.
Put him in some clown makeup, make him a sad sack clown and a serial killer who entertains children by day and kills their mothers at night. Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Okay, so we've got the creepy sex cult superheroes versus Crispin Glover, the criminal sex clown. Well, not sex clown, but, criminal clown that's serial killer. Blech. Tripped over my tongue. Criminal sex clown sounds interesting. Maybe he hits up the moms and gets them to invite him back after hours, It's entirely possible.
By day he entertains kids, by night he entertains adults.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
he entertains himself with adults.
You pay him and he pays you back. Yeah. I'm just trying to process the idea, this idea in my head a little bit right now, because there's no way that you could go anything but a hard R to an NC-17 rating with this kind of movie. Like if you're gonna pull all the weirdness that this would require, I want to replace Andy Dick now. I really feel like all the people on the leader of the sex cult, this creepy sex cult, I really feel like they should be like these pristine goody two shoes during the day, and during the night they're just complete deviants.
Yeah.
And just they're superheroes, but they just leave a swath of captured criminals and sex orgies in their wake.
Only Sheen could play a guy like that.
He could definitely play a guy like that, but you couldn't make him believable as a goody two shoes at all. There's no way that you could make that guy believable as a goody two shoes in any manner.
Not Charlie Sheen.
No.
His dad. I'm sorry, Martin
Sheen you could do. Okay.
No, I was talking about Martin Sheen.
Okay. You said Charlie.
I did, but that's what I was talking about.
I like John. What's his name? John Cryer. John Cryer would be kind of perfect there. He's the guy.
John Slater now will look very squeaky clean during the day, and will fit that role perfectly.
These are all guys, though. We need to have a few females thrown into the mix, unless it's it could be a gay creepy sex cult. I don't know. I mean, we could. Okay. Do we have ears around, Mr. Omar, that might be hearing what we're talking about?
Was that?
Oh no! You just looked over to your right there for a moment. I didn't know if there were ears around that were listening. That I don't want to corrupt young children. I really don't.
No, nobody young.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not corrupting people here. Other than us, we can corrupt.
I would have said something or signaled you or something.
I'm trying to think of some.
That's a conversation nobody's ready to have. Mommy, what is a sex cult?
I'm trying to think of some sweetly imaged women that have never been really in a position that they would fit this kind of role, because I really like casting outside of people's skill set.
Here's the thing, though. It's going to be hard. I could bank more on their capacity to make a role of a squeaky clean-looking person, such as, like, Rachel McAdams.
Okay. Somebody that could look squeaky clean. Issa Fisher.
There you go.
Because she's done a lot of kind of sweet kind of...
Who else?
But she's also pretty good at doing both sides of the fence. She's been both squeaky clean and raging before, like what is it? The Wedding Crashers.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. I don't know if I like her as squeaky clean.
She's played roles of very mean people too, but she could pull off the squeaky clean look.
She's also done a few things that are sort of prudish. Sandra Bullock. This would be a weird team, though. It'd be a very weird team.
Sandra Oh.
Okay. What about what's her name? God, now her name. Katherine Heigl.
Who?
She played Izzy on Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah.
She was also in I believe Area. Nope. That's not the name. Roswell. I was going to say Area 51, but no, Roswell.
Roswell, yeah.
She could do that too. She's mostly had most of her roles have always been sort of uptight, kind of prudish women. Outside of that one movie, Knocked Up.
That was dope. I like that movie.
But like, if you watched her in any, like I said, I've seen far too many romantic comedies in my lifetime, and that is her wheelhouse.
Yeah.
She always plays sort of obsessively uptight women who have to be brought out of their shells. So that's her wheelhouse. That girl
who played Hilary Banks in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I don't remember her name.
Oh, I used to remember her name too. Hilary Banks. Jeez. I liked her as an actress. She fell out after that movie, though. I don't know where she went. But like, yeah, I mean, with Katherine Heigl, with her having been almost completely prudish in everything that she's ever been in, to tell her to do a role where there is absolutely no inhibition whatsoever would be interesting, to say the least. I don't know if she'd be able to pull it off, but it would be interesting to see if she could.
Yeah.
But I like bad movies, so even if the movie was pure trash, I'd enjoy it.
Probably.
You gotta... the way that our podcast goes, Mr. Nathan, and I would love to invite you back sometime, but the way that it goes is just speak your mind, and we shut up when you just speak out. You know, we tend to shut up and let people talk when they're talking. If you got anything,
I get sort of a Bob Ross attitude when it comes to this pitch storm thing. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents.
Yeah, that's basically how it is. We're just throwing together a movie. We don't know if we ever... Like, I'm trying to write one of the ones that we did, like, a long while back. If you ever get a chance to listen to the podcast, I believe it happened... Oh, God. I'll have to find it. I'll tell you a little bit later. But there was a podcast where we did a pitch call that we named Myrtle Leeches. And the whole premise to the movie was basically a race of aliens and their spaceship crashed down on Myrtle Beach. And basically it's sort of like an invasion of the body snatchers thing, except for these particular creatures are sort of alien-like tentacle monsters. And we pitched the whole thing out. It was sort of like a Spring Breakers meets Revenge of the Nerds 2 meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yeah. So it was a very interesting premise and probably one of our more solid pitch storms, to be honest. And it's tough to do a decent pitch or really a decent podcast when we're all sitting in different houses, because there's much better flow when everybody's in the same room and we're all feeling the same energy. When we're all in separate houses and we can't see those facial cues half the time, like, I'm going to quiet down, time for you to talk. It's tough. It really is. I think we talk over each other more now than we normally do.
It's true.
And Omar will tell you I talk too much. Entirely too much.
I won't say nothing about that.
You knew what I was.
Nothing of the sort.
I'll tell you, just like I told my wife. You knew what I was when you got into this.
Yep.
I just told her that last night.
That's the story of that snake. That the guy found the snake and raised the snake and fed the snake, and the snake got big enough that one day came that the snake ate him. And he said, "But I helped you." As the snake was there, you knew I was a snake when you picked me up.
You know what you were getting into.
Yep.
You know, I never lived in a place without a door. You're welcome to go that way if you really feel that I'm being too much of a jackass. I'm a wise ass. I've always been a wise ass. I like to be that way. It makes things interesting.
It's better than being a dumbass.
You know what's fun? I was telling somebody this yesterday. The best defense against any Karen is absolute and uncaring sarcasm.
Oh, yeah.
They
have a heart attack over that.
Just smile and be sarcastic and enjoy the fallout. That's all I can say. You run up across to Karen, just smile and be sarcastic.
They go buck wild when they encounter that type of deal.
They can't handle it. It's in the Karen nature not to be able to handle that.
I love it.
Okay, so what is this? Okay, so our crazy clown is murdering parents all across the city, and we have our team. We've got the males. We've got Tom Hanks. We've got Martin Sheen, and who was the other guy? We have John Cryer for the three guys, and we've got I think I like Jennifer Aniston and Katherine Heigl for the two ladies for the team. Just people that under no circumstances should ever be in this kind of movie, and we're going to cast them because, well, I would enjoy seeing this. It would probably be one of the worst movies ever. Probably a black mark on Tom Hanks's career, to say the very least.
We need some cops that are trying to investigate the thing.
We have to cast some cops. Well, after watching this movie, I like Cuba Gooding Jr. for one of the cops. He does both comedic. He goes comedic and serious equally.
And Pamela Anderson as his partner.
Oh, that's a weird team. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
And like, we're not talking like Pamela Anderson in her prime either. We're talking about her right now. And have you seen her lately?
Yeah. No.
Pam. Oh, Pam is looking a little rough. She really is.
Looking like she had a Judgement Night.
Like all that surgery in the 90s is finally coming back to attack her.
Catching up to her.
So yeah, I like that. I like her as the cop. His partner. And I want Cuba to be really serious. Pamela should be the loose cannon. Just real crazy.
She's the older one, but she's wilding out.
Like she's like a beat cop. She's like a beat cop that he gets paired with. She has never been more than a beat cop, and she's always wanting to be more than that. But she's such a loose cannon. She's lucky they haven't fired her by now, and they're hoping.
She's a wild one that get interested in the whole sex cult thing. Cuba Gooding Jr. Let's make him some guy that is excessively by the book kind of guy.
I like that. Like a real straight lace. Like he's the one guy in this movie that like really is super uptight. Yeah, there is no other side to him.
Yeah, there
was a movie I saw him with this weird mustache growing on his upper lip. I kind of like that idea. Just make him grow that mustache out again. Just the mustache. No beard, no nothing. Just the stash.
The mustache, like cowboy mustache.
Like the 70s cop mustache.
Yes.
Caterpillar mustache.
Exactly. Yeah, I've seen Cuba Gooding with that mustache on his lip, and it never looked like it was in the right place. It didn't look like it belonged there. He's good as a clean-faced guy. I think we might have lost you there for a minute, Omar. You froze up, and you may want to log out and log back into the call. I don't know if you can hear me, but you've frozen up completely. So we will continue this until Omar his feed cuts back in. I don't know if his computer died or we went too long. But
I think he's on his phone.
It's possible. He logged out. He may be logging back in through his computer. We might get a message in a second. All right. So yeah, I do like the idea of Cuba Gooding Jr. kind of riding the cop role with a stick up his ass, investigating the crimes. We always seem to bring cops into these kind of movies. Like we've already got like a superhero team of weird sexual deviants, and we got the serial killer clown. So I guess this would be our like Commissioner Gordon of the movie or something. Or I don't know. Whoa, what's the name of the? It's not Commissioner Gordon that I'm thinking of. It's the other guy that's like the detective in the Batman series. Is it Grissom or something like that?
I don't know Batman well enough.
Damn it. There's a guy that's like directly under Commissioner Gordon, the guy that always kind of works for him, doing what he's like the detective, the actual detective in the Batman series, and I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Grissom, but I'm probably wrong. Because I'm probably just falling back on my CSI knowledge. But that being said, he's basically our uptight cop in the movie. He knows he probably got to make a call out to these deviant. He's like, I really don't want to call on these guys, but this is the superhero group for this particular city. I don't know why. I'm thinking like I'm feeling like this is a New Orleans setting. Sexual deviance. It kind of goes with the area a little bit. There's a real seedy underbelly to New Orleans.
I've heard New Orleans has some interesting Mardi Gras things.
Well, I mean, Mardi Gras itself became the main setting for what, like Girls Gone Wild for the longest time?
Yeah.
You know? You could really pick any spring break setting, though. I mean, you could pick Daytona Beach, Cancun. Well, Cancun, but that's what? Is that New Mexico? Or is that Mexico? I know there's a place in New Mexico that a lot of spring breakers go to. Any place with water and boats, apparently. They do a lot of spring break stuff there. But you gotta have like a setting that's fairly well known for debauchery. You could even do Las Vegas, really. Las Vegas might be a good setting for that, because I mean, technically, prostitution is legal there. So a group with that's a creepy sex cult might actually fit in. Not go notice too well.
Not technically criminal.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be it just is a creepy sex cult. You know, nothing to see here. It's Tom Hanks by day and whatever you'd call him at night, Dildo Man. I have no idea. I'm trying to think of what the powers or the weapons that these folks would be using would be. You know?
Some kind of kink-inspired things.
More than likely. I think we might have permanently lost Omar. I don't know what happened. His phone probably died and he's setting up his computer. More than likely. And we're reaching that half-hour mark where we normally end things, too. So I might end up ending the podcast before he even comes back. Yeah, like, I'm picturing, like... I'm picturing a lot of weird things. I mean, you could get really, really screwed up with a lot of the things you could do with a movie like this, especially if you allowed it to go over that line into the NC-17 rating. Like I'm picturing like one of the girls is like a siren, like she can share her voice would make anybody like completely fall in love with her. But then the other person has like a pheromone that she gives off that just completely cripples the person in front of her, like orgasmically or something. She just gives off this pheromone that just completely triggers that sexual instinct orgasm. It's crippling. He ends up falling on the ground, which would be interesting. I think I think I don't know if how you are with comic books. Have you ever heard of the Sportsmaster?
No.
Have you heard of Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I know the Ninja Turtles. I'm not sure I remember Casey Jones specifically by name.
I think he was featured in the second of the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies. He was also featured in one of the older TMNT movies. But his whole premise is basically, both him and Sportsmaster, is that they have absolute control over sports equipment. Basically, they know how to turn any piece of sports equipment into a weapon. To the point that, I mean, Sportsmaster even has, like, baseballs that he's turned into bombs, hockey pucks, stuff like that. I picture John Cryer being like that, except for with sex toys. He's like the sex toy master.
The deadly dildos.
Yeah, basically. Deadly dildo or something like that. I'm still trying to picture what our leader is there, though. What exactly... What could we get? Because Tom Hanks has to have the power that makes him the leader. Like, I want to say maybe he has the power to completely and utterly control other people's sexual will. Just can make them do anything, but only in a sexual setting. It's sort of like mind control, but very, very focused on one thing. Okay.
He subtly just shifts your sexual orientation on you and makes you very insecure and paralyzed.
Right. I mean, he can basically shift your mind. So he can basically turn your sexual orientation into anything he wants it to be. So,
comes across the most uptight conservative crowd and makes them very gay,
right?
So they can't even deny it.
To the point they can't deny it. To the point they have no way to control the urge. You know. That sounds about appropriate. Now we just got to give something to the old man here, Martin Sheen. He's an older fella. He'd be like the daddy's daddy of the group. I think maybe Martin Sheen is just sort of the. I want to make him the gimp. He's the go-to guy for everything. You know, he's basically the team's sidekick that does all the side stuff that helps them get to where they are. So he's their gimp. He basically, they walk him around on the leash and everything, and I'm beginning to realize we have completely lost Omar. I don't think he's coming back unless he went to find the computer. I think he's done for the day.
Oof.
So that's our group. I'm trying to figure out how the criminal clown falls into it. I feel like maybe the clown was a sexual deviant and part of the group at one point, and they found out that he was going off and killing people. Basically, he'd turn into a serial killer. Whatever was going on in his head, he was beyond deviant. And his proclivities, he basically was sort of a prankster. He's definitely a clown, so that fits. Like, you could even give almost a horror aspect to some of it, just make it really, really dark on his side, but it's all kind of light, weirdly goofy on the other side, you know what I mean? So you have, like, two completely different movies in the same film. Like, a really dark kind of horror film when you're talking about, or you're within the scenes of the clown, and then sort of a almost, I want to say, sausage fest romp with the other side, where it's just completely and utterly ludicrously goofy, you know. So if you make it a comedy, like an action comedy that's also a dark horror film, and you can make the shifts there just completely jarring. Like you're watching something, you're laughing your ass off, and then just something really disturbing happens in the next scene. Because this guy has just gone completely and utterly off the deep end. So there's no goofy or whatever to this clown. He is like, outside of when he's entertaining children, even when he's entertaining children, he's fucking creepy as hell. Because it's Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover's kind of creepy. outside of his role in Back to the Future, I think that he just kind of was creepy in almost everything that he was in. You know, I don't think...
Even in Back to the Future, I sort of got the vibe that he could pull it off. He could play creepy.
He always seemed like that, in the Back to the Future movies, he was that timid guy that could just snap at any moment and ended up in a bell tower with a rifle.
Yeah.
Everybody's picking on me. You know. Instead, he just punched the bully and got the girl. But if that hadn't happened, if he hadn't punched the bully and got the girl, how far would it have gone before he snapped? And what would that have manifested? It was a goofy comedy for the 80s, but that could have taken a dark turn too. What would have happened to George McFly if he never got the girl? Yeah, that's actually a good idea. That's a good thought. Maybe I'm going to bring that up to the guys for one of our next podcasts. Take movies that already exist and just pose a what if during the movie. What would have happened if this hadn't happened during the movie? Or if, the guy never got the girl, or if, whatever. There's a lot of movies you can do that with.
It's like movie alternate history.
Right? Just sort of an Elseworlds for that particular movie. Well, I'm not sure how we're gonna kill the clown here, but I feel like we're winding down to the end of the podcast. We've lost Omar. I don't know where he's gone off to, or if he's going to be back. So I think we can go ahead and wrap this up for the end of the day. Kind of leave that open for the end. because I don't know how to make our sex criminals. How do you defeat the crazy serial killer clown as a bunch of deviant sex criminals? You fuck him over, but good. I don't know.
You have the last laugh.
Exactly. He's a clown. You have the last laugh. Because then you take that dark horror aspect of his side of the movie and you mix it with the goofy aspect of the other side. And I picture a few of these guys on the team dying before Tom Hanks finally takes this guy out. I don't even think Tom Hanks does it. I want Martin Sheen, the Gimp, to be the guy that finally takes out the guy. The guy that really has no superpower. He just kind of comes up behind him and ends him. There's no jail for the guy. There's just done. I don't think we have the criminal clown make it to jail. I think this movie being NC-17 at the very least hard R. We missed you. I'm guessing your phone died.
You guessed correct. Oh, you know my many trials and tribulations with that phone.
We've almost fleshed out the rest of the movie. You missed a lot. We turned John Cryer into basically the sex toy master. Yep. So John Cryer is the sex toy master. He has complete weaponized mastery over every sex toy. You know, he makes
he has weaponized the sex toys.
Yes, he's weaponized sex toys. I don't know if you've ever seen like Casey Jones in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who has complete mastery
definitely.
over. He has complete mastery over sports equipment, basically. Well, he's like that except for sex toys. What other superpowers did we dole out? So Martin Sheen's just a gimp. He's the sidekick, doesn't have any superpowers. He's just sort of there to be the go-to guy. Sort of the Xander Harris of the group. No real powers there, just sort of the heart of the sexual deviant group there. We have Catherine.
We had Tom.
Go ahead.
We give Tom Hanks the power to change your sexual orientation on you,
and sort of like control your sexual willpower.
Yeah.
So, and I think we gave Katherine Heigl. She's the siren of the group. So Katherine Heigl, when she can sing, and she can make anybody fall in love with her just by her voice. And we gave Jennifer Aniston the power of a pheromone that can cripple anyone around her with a crippling orgasm.
Oh my god.
Completely neutralized.
Right. But this, we also decided that the clown was also at one point part of this group, but he went way, way, way to the dark side and he started killing people. So we decided to make this movie on the sexual cult side. We've made it sort of like a sausage party kind of goofy movie. But when you shift over to what's going on with the clown, Crispin Glover, it's a really dark horror. So every shift from scene to scene is really jarring because you're going into one thing that's just sort of lighthearted, but really, really dirty and goofy, and you go to another thing and it's just really disturbing. So you just have jarring shifts throughout the entire movie.
That sounds pretty crazy.
And we were coming up with the ending. Where we feel like some of these people should die, like the clowns kills off a few people on the group before the gimp finally ends him. So it isn't even Tom Hanks, the leader of the group, that does anything. It's Martin Sheen as the gimp, the sidekick, that ends up killing the clown.
Yeah. Why
Can't
does it
tarnish
kill
Tom
him?
Hanks' career too much. You can't have him kill anyone.
Right. I feel like
How does he kill the clown though?
I had this weird. Okay, I didn't actually bring it up because you popped right back in, but I had this idea that the sex toy master gets killed, and the gimp and him were in a relationship, and so so the gimp, distraught over the killing of his partner, grabs a butt plug bomb and shoves it down the clown's throat. Just barrels at him and... and it takes both him and the clown out.
As he cries.
Yeah, just sort of like almost a Braveheart-esque cry. He just goes into battle with the butt plug bomb in hand and just buries it into him.
Something like the Wilhelm scream.
Right? Something to that nature. I feel like that's how that should end. You came back just in time for us to end the movie.
I did have this thought that the creepy clown guy, having been one of the sex cult people, has to have a power of his own too.
Right? That is true. That is true. I'm trying to think of what kind of power he would have, though.
It's like, when he becomes the clown, he still has the same power, but he starts using it for bad stuff, actual serious bad stuff, and not just adult-rated fun.
Right? Let's see. What kind of deviant... I'm trying to think. There's not a lot you can do with the whole sex cult idea. There's a lot of weird deviant things, but we got to have something that would be fairly innocuous, but if used the wrong way, could be deadly. I kind of like the idea... Okay, let's try this. I kind of like the idea of the clown. He's a clown anyway, so it would be kind of goofy for him to have this power. The clown's power is he has an Excalibur-esque type double-ended dildo that speaks to him. And this is what slowly drove him mad. The thing wanted blood. So, it slowly drove him mad. It's speaking to him. Voices just filling his head to the point that he started killing people with the thing.
There's a thing people say, like, guys are, like, thinking with their dicks sometimes, so it's like, in his case, it's a bit more literal.
Right, exactly. It's taking that idea and just making it very literal. Like, every thought is about using that thing, you know? And he was using it for good, and then he just sort of went over to the dark side, so to speak. So it's like his...
He was using it for good, but then it had a corruptive influence on him, and did the thinking for him.
Right, it was tired of only being used for deviant sexual acts, and it literally wanted blood. And it waited till it had full control over him to switch that, turn that switch. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think that we've
Go
ahead.
Maybe the way they defeat him is they finally separate him from that weapon, destroy the weapon, and suddenly the spell is broken or something.
I like the separating. Yes, separate him from the sword eventually, but that's the only way that they have him open enough to actually take that final blow. And the Gimp sacrifices himself to end the clown. So, I think we've actually wrapped up this movie nicely. I think that I was kind of confused as to how we'd end it, and that was actually pretty good. I liked that.
I'm telling you, one of these days somebody's gonna pick up one of these things.
I'm about 99.9% certain that the intended cast for this movie would never agree to it, but
no, another cast, of course.
I feel like, Matt Stone and Trey Parker would be up for something like this with no problem. You could cast it with Judd Apatow's crew pretty good, too. But, yeah.
Definitely.
I'm still trying to picture this group, like the outfits that they'd wear, clad in leather and nipple clamps, Okay.
True indeed.
We're going to go ahead and leave you lovely listeners on the imagery of Martin Sheen and leather and nipple clamps, and thank you, Nathan and Mr. Omar, for being here for the cast today. We're sorry Miss B wasn't able to join us. If you guys want to say goodbye to the group?
We'll have her next week. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Nathan, thank you for joining in. It's been real. Let's do it again sometime. Great insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to have you back. We'll go ahead and we'll have Miss B reach out to you, or I might just reach out to you myself. You know.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
My people will talk to your people will talk to my people. We'll figure out how to get something in the middle, you know? Something that we can both equally agree upon. All right. Thank you, and I know who's listening to us. I know the very few people that are listening to us, so I fuck off till another day.
Shout out to everybody in New Zealand. Thank you for listening.
Right. Hey, beautiful people in New Zealand, if you are actually listening to this, pass this on. We need more. We need a stronger listener base. Please, for the love of fucking God.
Countries matter.
Right? All right.
Let's get them.
Goodbye.